traffic lights. The closest they'll come to, and they've only done this in a few areas, is what they call ramp metering, where they'll put a red-green light on the ramp. They have them in other states to control the flow of traffic onto the main roadway. Would not be onto 537. Would be down onto.
I've seen some of those. Those work very well because they're just as effective as a stoplight.
Right. What they do is they make gaps in the traffic so the cars can get in and out. As far as signage on the ramps, it's been an ongoing problem with people exceeding the speed limits on the ramps. They're posted at 20 miles an hour advisory speed, and the minute we get a little bit of moisture on those ramps, we start having cars slide off, and it's due to excessive speeds. It's unfortunately not an enforceable speed because it's an advisory speed, but we do cite the people that get involved in motor vehicle collisions because of the excessive speed on a careless driving.
How could we convince people of what a yield sign really means? No one pays any attention. And maybe I'm the only one on the road, but it's horse to combat. It's who's got the strongest vehicle and the strongest guts to go through that thing at the highest speed, to put everybody in danger. But one accident takes a life, and it's right there in that situation where that building is in Colts Neck, all the high-density homes on Walling Road. We're getting contractors in there. We're getting slow-moving equipment in there, and we're going to have deaths. We already had a couple already, and I'm just worried about it. And my friends in the development here want to do something to help you fine gentlemen not have any problems. But what would you suggest? Should we go to city council? Do we got to go to Trenton?
The first approach would be to the county, because Route 537 is a county road, and now you're talking about two different townships that it goes through. They control it. They're the ones that do the signage on it. They're the ones that do all the regulations for it, and the towns just concur to it. They actually control what takes place on that road.
Okay. The other thing we were thinking of doing, and this is a little severe, and you're not going to like it, is a sit-down. I mean that seriously, where we bring it to the attention of the media and then force that issue into the paper, because I'd rather be put in jail overnight than have some neighbor killed there by somebody coming across that down ramp with a semi, at 90 miles an hour, and then somebody making a left or right-hand turn. Very dangerous.
Right. Probably the first approach would be to contact the county. They have a Department of Engineering traffic safety that would control and look at it. And as a matter of fact, they are reviewing 537 as we speak because of all the problems and the fatal accidents that have happened over the years on the roadway. But we fall back into the syndrome again where budget restraints, budget cuts limit what they can do. Unfortunately, it all comes down to a dollar figure. Yeah. Everybody looks at what it costs to do something and how much money they have to work with, and unfortunately Route 537 and 18 is not the only problem area that they have to look at, so they have to spread it around. They do a little bit here, a little bit there.
I want to say one thing to you. We often divert our travel from the east going to our house in Freehold to go by your environment there because of the lake and the environment. That's absolutely fabulous. That's the way things should be for our police. They should have that kind of a situation to have around them.
Thank you.
We appreciate your help and your service, and we're going to try and do something about this. Maybe we'll have to sit down in the crossroad.
I would recommend that, but there's other methods to try it. I would say first try the county, and then letters to the editor and so forth. Make it to the media that way instead of trying to get yourself in trouble.
Good luck to all you professionals.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your call. I appreciate it. Let's see. Hey, should we take another call? Sure. Hi, I think we have Ray.
I'm from Colts Neck, and
wow, thank you. I thought you were on the phone before, and you were probably talking to me and couldn't hear anything, right?
I think Colts Neck has the best police force in the nation. I'll start with that.
Holy mackerel.
But my problem is...
Or holy Maxwell.
If you pull me over... No, my problem is I tried to cross the bridge into Point Pleasant, I guess around 3 weeks ago, or what, I'm not sure the date, but I was in a traffic jam you couldn't believe with the bridge up, and it looked like chaos, and I don't think you guys were ready for it. I could be wrong, but are you ready for the next one? Because this is my second time that I tried to cross the Point Pleasant Bridge, and it got stuck, and it was hell for, I guess, around 3 hours.
What day was this?
It was a Friday night at 5 o'clock.
Oh, well,
and the bridge was up for 3 hours.
These bridges, You know, it might be a good time to go for the fishing report now from Steve. We're going to take care of that before we go off the air. I don't know what to deal with. Thank God in Ocean Township we don't have any of those drawbridges. And apparently it seems like those suckers are always getting stuck.
5:30 on Friday night.
And is it a scheduled opening for that long? Or I mean, you think they usually put them up and down fairly rapidly.
They opened it there was an error, I guess, with the opening, but we were stuck for I guess 2 hours solid, and it was like chaos. We were sitting on heading for Route 70, and we were just stuck sitting there for a hell of a long time.
And there's nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go.
Once you're stuck in that. I sympathize because I too have been stuck in traffic, and when the bridges decide to throw up or whatever it is they do that makes them not work. I don't know what the answer is. Pontoon bridges or something. You know, I really don't know.
But there was no plan. I mean, the police were routing us all to Route 70, I guess, for the other Mandalocan Bridge.
Yeah.
And we were just sitting in traffic for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Looking at, it was terrible.
Unfortunately, when unforeseen circumstances like that happen, you know, I mean, on a smaller scale, we see things happen in Ocean all the time. The power grids are kind of funny in our town, and something happens, there's a lightning storm, and all the lights on the highway go out. And that's just a mess, especially depending on what time of the day that happens. And we end up sending people up the highway because we just don't want to take the chance of them crossing the barrier. So we try to do the best we can when things like that come up, but maybe they need some better bridges or better planning. And probably with budget constraints and everything else, they probably don't inspect them enough to make sure they're working right. So you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And you were stuck between a hot place and a river that was probably pretty cool, but you couldn't jump in.
Well, a lot of people were stuck, but all right, thanks for your help.
Thank you. Should we take one more? Okay, take two. Hi, Ross.
Yeah, Ross from Freeland.
Hi, how you doing?
How you doing? I'd like to ask Officer Peters a question real quick.
Sure.
Hey, Officer Peters, how you doing? I'd like to ask you about, I see a lot of, passing through Ocean Township, I have a lot of family out there. I see a lot of mothers and fathers driving their vans and their cars, and a lot of kids not restrained in the seat belts and the car seats. They're roaming around the cars and all, and jumping around, and I want to know what we can do to prevent, in the future, prevent that. How can we go about that, or what can we do about that?
Well, we're put in a tight situation there. The parents should know that you have to keep your children restrained. And the law says they have to be restrained legally up to 5 years old. And, of course, all adults in the front part of the car have seatbelts on as well. And I think that it's been better the last couple of years than it was earlier on because of the public education that's gone through and the testimonials that have come from parents who have lost children in motor vehicle accidents because their children weren't restrained. So we really depend on both public education and motor vehicle enforcement because you can get a summons for that. And most of the times when somebody does get a motor vehicle summons for not having their child restrained, they don't forget it. And the biggest thing is that you can make the conscious effort or the decision to say, I'm not going to wear my seatbelt today. But a child, particularly an infant, they can't do that. They don't know. You have to make that decision for them. So it is your responsibility as the parent to make sure they keep seatbelts on or make sure that they're in that proper child restraint seat.
Alrighty.
Right now, the seatbelts are a secondary summons that can be issued when there's a motor vehicle stop for another violation. And I know the state has been talking about changing that to making it a primary stop. So if we see someone without a seatbelt, we can stop you and issue a summons. But that hasn't happened yet, but they've been talking about it.
All right. Thank you much, officer.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for your call, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Quinn.
Angel.
How you doing?
Oh, just pretty good, I think. I don't know. You're watching. You tell me.
Well, first of all, I really want to thank you guys for this type of service you're providing, for the community here. I think it really helps. Now, my question is, in reference to this increasing, I would say, fashion, and it's about tinted windows, all of that. You see that everywhere, and it's increasing throughout the years lately. And I understand that in the state of New Jersey is legal up to a certain point and extent, right?
Correct.
But you see, like, it's supposed to be legal in the back rear seat and all, not including driver and passenger windows and all that. But my question is, how come other states don't? It's not illegal in some other states. It's legal in some states. I mean, you know, why they don't make it all even? Either it's illegal or it's not illegal.
You know what? That kind of makes sense. Pat, do you want to talk a little bit about window tint? Because it is a little confusing.
And another question is, you know, a lot of people say, well, you know, this is clear, this is good, it'll go through, you know, and some people say, no, that's no good, and
right.
Too dark or too light, you know.
Sure.
It's a whole mess, I would say.
It is.
Well, Angel, right now the way the law indicates that you are allowed to have, like you said, tinted windows in the rear window or anything behind the driver. Any windows to the left or the right of the driver or in front of the driver can't have any tint at all. That would even include a very light tint. That's also illegal. But there's no federal law against it. Each state makes its own regulations concerning it. One of the states that permits it is Florida. Anytime you see a Florida license plated vehicle up here, a lot of times the windows are tinted on the vehicle. As a safety aspect for a police officer pulling over a motor vehicle, I'd rather see no tint on the window at all. I work in a town where we pull a lot of people over, and you never know who you're pulling over.
Right, but what's waiting for you behind that mask?
That's correct. That's why I would prefer that there was no tinting allowed in the state of New Jersey at all. Understandably, in the hotter climates, even though it's been pretty hot in New Jersey the last couple of days, it does keep the car cooler. But like I said, a safety aspect for myself, it makes me feel a little bit more secure knowing that I can see into the vehicle.
And Angel, one other thing that comes to light because of some of the comments you made, there is a committee called the National Committee for Uniform Traffic Laws and Ordinances. I believe they're based in Washington, D.C., with some auxiliary things out in Chicago, hooked up with Northwestern University. They basically have and try to have uniform traffic laws and ordinances passed in all the states that would be the same, which kind of makes sense. So that because we're a very mobile society, so people who are driving from state to state, gee, I'm in New York, can I make a right on red? You know, you have to think of all those things. It might be a little bit easier if some of the laws were a little bit more uniform, and it would make our jobs a lot easier. But,
sure, I understand that point.
Yeah, but we're going to go to break now, and I appreciate your call, and I especially appreciate you tuning in to watch, because this is what makes this show work is the interaction with the folks at home.
Okay,
thank you
so much. And like I said again, you know, you guys doing a great job with this program.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And hey, next month we'll be on 8 years, so I guess we've been doing pretty good along.
You've been on 8 years.
Yeah. Oh, you got it. Yeah. I'm the old guy. Listen, you know what? It's time for another station break. And Diana, please don't hang up, because I'm going to come to you as soon as we come back. We'll take a short break. You guys can stretch your feet, not you. And we'll be back. Stay tuned.
Your friend.
My friend.
Yeah, the one that you said that you asked if she could say hi. Everything I get, he tries to sell, you know. Oh, what a cute dog. You like it? Yeah.
Anybody hear from Bill? He called Tuesday and said he couldn't decide whether he should buy or rent.
Literally, the dog was winding around and around her legs. Like, great dog.
Hi, I'm Deborah Esposito, and I'm a member of the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization of Mammoth County. Being a big sister gives me the opportunity to bring joy and happiness to a little one. It's satisfying seeing Melissa learning new things and having fun. The Big Sister program offers an incredible experience for both the little sister and the community.
To find out how you can become a Big Sister, please call
908-530-9800.
Share the road safely with a truck. By following a few simple rules, we can make New Jersey's highways safer for all of us, car and truck drivers alike. When you pull in front of a truck, leave enough room for the truck to stop. Stay out of a truck's blind spots and never pass on the right. Following these simple rules can help save a life. Share the road with a truck safely.
Name a hospital that charges patients the same today as it did 70 years ago. How about the Shriners Hospitals? They provide some of the finest medical care in the world to kids with orthopedic or burn problems. And Shriners charge the same today as they did when they opened their first hospital. Nothing. How do I know? When my son John Henry was 16, he was a patient at a Shriners Burns Institute.
For information, call this toll-free number.
Hi, we are back, and so are you, I hope. Got back from the kitchen? Yeah, okay. Close the refrigerator door, will you? Listen, we're going to take some more calls. I'm sorry, my live number? 681-3331. Oh, you want it on the screen. I thought you were talking to me. It's okay. Folks, this is Organized TV.
Bye.
Diana?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you for hanging on. I'm sorry we took so long.
That's okay.
Okay. How are you?
Okay, you?
Well, just fine. How you been?
Good.
How's the job?
The job's not bad.
Good. But you have to drive there, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Actually, I drive. I work in Red Bank, and I drive through Freehold.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is like I leave the house at 7:30, and there was one incident where I was not going to work, and I was driving with my nephew and my 2-year-old son. And I do have a little sign that says "Child on Board." Now, there's a lot of crazy drivers that don't care and don't pay attention to those little signs, anything like that. And there was this one incident with this lady. She was in a pickup truck with 2 girls in a car with no seatbelt on or anything like that. And there's no room for 3 people to sit in the car. I mean, there's only a 2-seater. And she was cutting me off and cutting everybody off. And, I mean, I could have sworn that this person probably was on drugs or something like that, the way she was driving. But in a situation like this, I mean, what does one do in order to prevent or, I mean, how do we go about reporting her to you guys? Do we take down license plate numbers or?
Well, that's, and I bet you $100 that you were saying, where's a cop when you need one?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Guess what? We do it too when we're in our private cars.
There was at one point where a cop, he was not dressed as a cop. He was probably off duty at the time. He did stop her dead at the track and told her to, cut it out, and he did flash his badge to her, and then she proceeded with caution. And then once he disappeared, she started all over again. Gave me the finger and, went on her way.
It's unfortunate that happens, but one of you guys get to talk now.
Well, if you have somebody commits a violation in your presence or cuts you off or something similar to that, and you are allowed to go to the court in the jurisdiction that the incident occurred and sign a complaint against them. If you drop down the license plate number of the vehicle and at least try and get a look at the driver so you'd be able to identify the driver in court, go to local municipal court and tell them you would like to sign a complaint against the driver of this vehicle using the license plate.
Now, how about if she's not the driver, the owner of the vehicle, and she just borrowed it or something?
That could be a problem, and that's why you would have to be able to identify the driver or the operator of the vehicle at the time.
Yeah, well, once they run the license plate, if it comes back to her, and you can recognize her in court, that makes it pretty simple. Problem is when they run the plate, if it comes back to, let's say, a male and there was a woman driving.
Or a leasing company.
Yeah, they're going to have to do a little bit of investigation before we can determine who the driver was, and then it may be tough. So there are remedies, but they require you to kind of help us out and make a stand, so to speak.
Understood.
Okay?
Okay.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks.
And enjoy the rest of your evening, and of course you'll be glued to the set for the rest of the show, right?
Oh, yes, I will, definitely.
God
Very
bless you.
interesting.
Thanks so much.
Good work.
We got Tom?
Yes.
Oh, good.
How you doing, John?
It's fine. I've been calling everybody the wrong names, and it's okay.
That's
How are
okay.
you?
We can handle it as long as we get on.
Okay.
I'm interested in your show, and I find it very enlightening, and I'm glad that a program of this nature is on. I have two questions, if I may, and I'll make it quick. First of all, traffic. I live in Brielle. Traffic flow at traffic circles. As you're aware, on Highway 34 into 35, there are two circles coming off the Parkway, one in Manasquan, one in Brielle.
Yeah.
Recently, I guess it's the county that put up some yield signs onto traffic entering the circle. Can you sort of be a little more specific on who has the right-of-way in the circle? And I know you lost your circle in Eatontown.
Well, in Eatontown, they did north of us, but we still have the Asbury Circle.
Right.
And boy, we love it, don't we, Steve?
Very busy.
You know, what is it? Just New Jersey that has traffic circles? It's like unique or something.
Jug handles.
Yeah, I'm beginning to think it is. I'm not too thrilled about the job they did in Eatontown when they got rid of it. I mean, it's almost a circle, you know, as you're coming up the highway.
It's kind of a straight circle.
Yeah. But I was wondering if you could shed some light on the proper procedure in a circle.
Sure. Rich, are you Mr. Traffic Circle tonight?
I could handle it if you want me to.
Here we go.
As you know, as you said that they have yield signs on some of the approaches to the circles. If there's a yield sign controlling the intersection, because basically that's all a circle is, it's a continuous intersection of one road intersecting another one. If there's a yield sign, the person that has a yield sign must yield the right of way to the person that's already in the intersection or in the circle, as it may be. If there is nothing there, it's handled as an uncontrolled intersection.
Okay. Sometimes I feel it's like the first one in the circle has the right of way, and you step on the gas and go as fast as you can to get through it. You know, sometimes that's the way it feels, especially in the summertime in our area, you know, in southern Monmouth County.
Right.
But I appreciate that information on that. I also have a second question. Recently, it has come to light where I was involved in a traffic accident not too long ago, and I was under the impression, or at least I heard, that if there is a fatality, even if somebody should rear-end you, and it's not your fault, and there's a fatality in the accident, the person that hit you should pass on, should die. I hear in the state of New Jersey you can lose your license or you have to go to a hearing, and it's very lengthy and time-consuming. Can you shed some light on that for me?
Sure. If you're involved in a fatal motor vehicle accident, your information that's involved in the collision is sent on to the Division of Motor Vehicles as one of the places that it stops, in addition to the State Police Fatal Action Unit and also the Monmouth County or the County Prosecutor's Office. The Division of Motor Vehicles Fatal Accident Review Unit reviews all fatal accidents involving 2 or more drivers. And what they'll do is they can administratively suspend your license before the investigation is concluded in the event that you may have been a contributing factor to it. Because in New Jersey they go, driving is a privilege, it's not a right. So they feel it's safer to remove someone from the road that may have been a cause to a fatality and then later restore their license than to let that person continue to drive before the investigation is concluded. Division of Motor Vehicles can impose sanctions upon you in addition to whatever motor vehicle summons that you might be issued at a collision or whatever the court may impose upon you. They can administratively issue suspensions also.
Okay, so there is some truth to the rumor.
Yes.
I guess all this would be dependent upon the investigation itself and so forth.
Yes, what they'll do is that they'll review. When we have a fatal collision, we have to send reports into them within 72 hours, and they immediately review it and they make a determination right from there if they're going to suspend anyone's license administratively. If you're blatantly not at fault, you won't get suspended. But if there's any indication at all that you may have been a contributing factor, that you will get suspended.
I see. Okay. And a caller a few calls ago asked about the Point Pleasant Bridge being stuck open. I think we're the only ones that have drawbridges that aren't high enough to handle the summer traffic of boats and cars. But the reason for that was there was a malfunction on the bridge, and according to the press today, they said they have it fixed and it should not happen again. So if he's still listening, he can come down here and hopefully he won't be stuck in traffic.
Well, thanks for your call.
All right,
and I'm enlightened by the fact that they say that it'll never get stuck again. And I think the Indian treaties where they said as long as the river flows and the grass grows green, and these poor folks don't live in Manhattan anymore, so I don't know if I'd take that to the bank.
Right. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Next one's yours, Steve. Andrew.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Not too bad. Thanks for hanging on, and I hope you didn't hang on too long.
That's okay. I like the show.
Well, thank you. I do too. It's one of my favorites.
First of all, I'd like to commend all of you for your job that you're doing. But I have a question for Pat of Asbury Park.
Oh, okay.
Pat, on some of the side streets in Asbury Park, there are no stop signs or no yield signs. And about a couple of weekends ago, maybe 2 weekends ago, there was an accident on the side street off of 2nd Avenue, between 2nd and 3rd. My question would be, because of the accidents, will there ever be yield signs or stop signs placed on some of these side streets?
That's a problem on a lot of the side streets on that side of town. That would be anywhere east of Main Street. We're trying to, at this point, to get those roads declared through streets so we can proceed with, that would have to be done by the town, so we can proceed with signing those intersections. Because particularly, I know the intersections you're probably thinking of, it's either Bond Street or Heck Avenue, Heck Street. Yeah, they seem to be a constant problem, and like I said, we are trying to get the town to declare 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Avenues through streets to the beachfront in order to get some signs up there.
My main concern is because there are a lot of children that play on those streets, and if you really want to look at it, the children are really the ones that we're main concerned about. They do speed up and down those streets. I'm not saying that the police department is not doing their job, not at all. But I'm saying we as citizens, we should be able to help the police in whatever, we can do. Is there a suggestion? Should we call whenever this occurs, whenever we see speeders? Or
occasionally you'll see, if it's someone who lives in the area or lives down the road from where you live, you'll see them all the time. And if you happen to see them all the time, and you can get a license plate, you can call me. I work 3 to 11 at the police station, and give me the license plate, and I'll find out where the owner lives, and I'll either advise them or I'll keep my eye out for them on that street.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Andrew, thank you for watching. We really appreciate it, and I'm glad you called in.
Thank you very much.
It helps us.
Keep up the good work, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
We're running out of time, so we're going to go real fast here. Hi, Chris.
Yeah.
How are you?
All right. I was just channel surfing. I saw 4 cops up there, and it got my attention.
It has a tendency.
You hear them behind your car.
I know we're running out of time.
I appreciate honesty. Thank you.
About Route 33, better known as Corley's Avenue, between Highway 35 and Main Street in Neptune.
It's a zoo.
Yeah.
You can't drive down that and it's very narrow and everything else.
Right. I just had heard some talk, actually for many years, about a emergency lane going down the middle, and I just want to know if anybody could give an opinion on that.
All right. Hang on for your answer, because first I got to say goodbye to the folks at home, and I'll stay on the line, and you and Ken and Mike, please stay on. We're going to take your call as soon as we get off the air. But believe it or not, we ran out of time, and I want to thank Steve Peters, Rich Maxwell, and Pat Makin for coming down to be with us. I appreciate you folks at home watching. Take care of yourselves. God bless, and we'll see you next time on NJ Law.